Hey everybody, welcome to this podcast. David Marshall here from the Conscious Creation Academy. And as usual, we're exploring and pressing into the ideas of the New Age, pressing into religious ideas that really we need to let go of or change and alter in order to have a more expansive and realistic view of the nature of reality. Now, if you don't know myself, I've been exploring this for over 54 years now after my first out-of-body experience, and I will link up below where you can download my book and 7 audios which are really going to help you understand the approach we're going to take. It's really moving much more into helping you understand how you create your own reality, why that's the only game in town, and also how you can begin to connect with your broader nature and get direct spiritual experience. It's the most important thing, is to have a direct experience of your broader nature whilst you're in physical reality. And that's what this podcast and my kind of journey and teaching and sharing is all about. And today we're going to bust a myth, which is the myth of karma. So does karma exist? Now, the only way that karma would exist is if time exists and it was linear, and the soul, the consciousness, if you like, kind of went up and down. We have this idea that it goes, person is alive for a period of time, then dies and goes up to another state of consciousness. A lot of people call it heaven or whatever, then comes down again, and that there's some kind of lesson, some kind of judgment happening, that if somebody does something bad or not so good in one life, that in the next life they have to pay for it. So there's a lot in there that we need to unpick, because it really does force us to kind of negotiate and navigate through a bunch of beliefs which are actually incorrect. So let's get through it based on the idea and the recognition that, in fact, that although we experience events, that time, in the sense that we traditionally have been taught, and now science is obviously coming to the conclusion, actually is part of the camouflage, if you like, of physical reality. So time as we know it does not exist, fundamentally 100% true, and therefore in truth karma can't exist either. So knowing that time in fact is simultaneous, that the events of our lives are simply created by our biological structure, what that means, and you can experience that yourself with out-of-body experiences, you can experience it while you're in physical reality. So it's not as if it's an unnatural state for you to be in, a state of timelessness where events actually experience and happen in a different way. So these are openly available to the more you explore it and the more open you are. But first of all, we've got to accept maybe time isn't what it seems. Now, I'm going to absolutely invite you to accept with your own exploration that time is actually an illusion. It's part of the illusion of physical reality, and therefore karma doesn't exist either. So it's not as if we go from life to life to life, because all lives are happening now. All days are happening now. But in terms of karma, more importantly, all lives are happening simultaneously. You will have a life, a probable version of your soul and your consciousness in multiple realities simultaneously, all going through their own learning and their own lessons as part of a much broader identity, a much broader soul, if you like. And so that version of reality is the only one that's available to us as we begin to understand that time, in fact, is not real. Events are real. I am really here, but time is not real. So as we explore that, what does that mean? Well, that means that we're not being judged. That means there is no superior being kind of waiting for us at the pearly gates or whatever belief system that you may have or not. There's nobody, there's no personality, no soul higher than you, better than you, that's going to tell you what to do, because all events are happening at the same time. It means that you are a man and a woman, a child and an adult. You are in 1848, this portion of your broader consciousness, and you're in 2420. You are in the year 300, and you're also in the year 3000 simultaneously. And so the view and the idea of past and future lives goes out the window. The view of going up and down from heaven to hell, and that's part of our journey, that goes out the window, thankfully. And so knowing that karma doesn't exist really allows us to let go of a lot of beliefs. The first one is that somehow we're being judged. So we can get something wrong, that there's somebody going to judge us, and that we should kind of obey some kind of moral code. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't be kind and loving and generous and all those types of things, but there's no inbuilt moral code that we are going to, like, the Christian idea of going up to the pearly gates and somebody kind of judging you, or the Egyptian idea, weighing your heart, all that kind of stuff. All that completely untrue, because as you will explore and it will become more known, more and more events will happen at the same time. So nobody's going to judge you. You're not going to get into trouble, for want of a better phrase, and you can make your own choices free of that. Now, what it also means is there is no up and down. It's not as though this idea that people have of ascending after a particular life, that is also not true. So it's not as if you go up to some kind of ascended plane. Those planes exist now, and you are able and have the ability to explore those. But there's no going up. There's no going down. There's also no hell. So what that also means is there is no evil. There is no evil energy. There is no hell. There is no kind of, cosmic energy of light and dark and all those things. They're all illusions based on ideas of maybe not karma in that sense, but based in idea that there is good and bad, that there is light and that there is dark in terms of energy, that there's evil energy and all that stuff. That's completely untrue. And so where does that leave us when we do that? It leaves us with freedom. It leaves you with the ability to let go every single day of anything that happened and decide who you want to be in the moment. It allows you to recognize that these ideas of evil energy, so if you want to, often people talk about they need to protect themselves because, they're going to allow the evil spirits in and all that kind of stuff. I assure you, having been outside of physical reality and inside of physical reality, that is a nonsense. And we're going to get to that in another podcast. So what it does is it allows us to redefine who we are, not only in terms of kind of in this broader sense of going, of a soul, which seems so kind of separate and that type of thing. What it does do is it frees us individually. You are quite safe. There is no kind of evil energy. There is only energy and consciousness of which you choose what you want to do with it. There is nobody waiting for you after death to judge you, and there is no lesson or payment you have to pay for your actions in the next life. And also, really importantly, there's no action that you're paying for now from a past life. So having been in the spiritual center for 10 years full time, being around kind of the healing kind of world for the last 25, 26, 20, maybe even 28 years, I used to hear and still hear people saying, well, I'm paying for this pain I'm in because of karma from another life. Even if they say it jokingly, and some people actually say it really quite seriously. And that's absolutely untrue, because time is simultaneous. So you're not paying for anything. If you do some kind of past life regression, in fact, that's a simultaneous life regression, and you are often always able to tune into future selves in literal terms and past selves in our terms. And often people get confused between the two. So you are free. You are free to be who you want to be. There is no judgment. Karma does not exist. Because of that, it ripples onto a whole bunch of other ideas and a whole bunch of other beliefs, and also redefines what we think of as a soul. So we have this idea of one world, one soul, that there's this linear time happening, and that there's this round world that goes along in time, and that we have lives that go there, and then we die and we go up and then we go down and all that kind of stuff. Well, just imagine if we were to accept that there are multiple worlds. There have to be, because all these lives are happening at the same time. So there is a world for the 1848 you and the 7000 BC you. There's a world, a physical reality that's real for the person that's in it, in 2480 and 2960 and all those types of things. So all those worlds exists simultaneously, and your soul and your consciousness has access to those, even though this we would regard as our home station. And it's great fun if you can accept that. There's no barriers to you exploring those things. And you can, in fact, go into dreams knowing that you're not going past or future. You're just turning your attention toward another simultaneous reality. You're able then to maybe learn about other lives that your soul and your consciousness is involved in. And that can be a really interesting exploration that we're going to talk about on another podcast. So to summarize, does karma exist? No, absolutely does not. There's no price to pay. There's nothing to worry about. There's no evil energy. Nobody's going to judge you. And it redefines what we think of as the soul and consciousness into this multi-dimensional, energetic kind of creature, this energetic kind of being, and that's what we are a part of. That is our true identity as part of that broader consciousness. So I hope that's interesting. Hope it maybe redefines what you think. So many ideas, when we understand the nature of time being simultaneous, have to change, and that makes it much more exciting. If you are interested in having some audios really going into a lot more detail into different areas, you can go to thedreamwecallearth.com, download my book. You'll get them presented with some audios. I would encourage you to go through those, and we'll be putting on some live events as well. And if you sign up, go and get that book, sign up into the newsletter, then we'll invite you along to those events so that you can explore all these different areas and really improve your life, quite literally, and learn to have direct experience of that broader soul nature. And when you do that, you will discover you're immortal. You'll discover there's nothing to be scared of, and your creativity, your spiritual creativity, you're manifesting all those types of things that are all real, although we do need to redefine a lot of them, will really go off the charts. And that's a great adventure to be part of. So that's it. Have a great day. Lots of love. If you have any comments wherever you find this, please do comment and I'll look out for them, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. All the best.